Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to another edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional with a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And tonight, we're going to talk about something that's all in the national news, the state of North Carolina. Everyone has heard about the Supreme Court Justice Allison Riggs, who lawfully won her seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court. But her opponent, whose name I will not mention, has continued his push to have votes thrown out. And it's just been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare to see literally an election that was duly conducted fairly and accurately to be second guessed at every turn. The election was back in November, and Justice Allison Riggs has not been able to take her oath and her earned seat on the court. But that's not all. The Republican Party, prior to our Democratic governor and lieutenant governor and attorney general and our superintendent of public instruction, before they were able to even take office, the Republicans stripped them specifically of those positions: the governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and superintendent of public instruction. All seats won by Democrats. They stripped them of power, of some of their powers. Every time you turn around, the Republicans are engaged in a power grab here in the purple state of North Carolina. I have two powerhouse women that are intimately involved in North Carolina politics on the show tonight. First, I have Janice Robinson. She is a native of South Carolina, but as a resident of Charlotte, North Carolina, Janice worked in the field of occupational therapy for 20 years before she decided to pivot in 2021 to start her own political consulting firm. She was determined to get candidates elected who were going to ensure that the voices of everyday people would be heard. In the fall of 2021, Janice also became the North Carolina Program Director for Red, Wine, and Blue, which is an Ohio-based women-led grassroots organization focusing on amplifying the voices of suburban women in the political arena. Janice is the chief troublemaker in North Carolina. Welcome back to the show, Janice.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me, Pam.
Oh, absolutely. And next up, we have State Representative Dr. Amber Baker. Dr. Baker is an educator's educator. She was sworn in as state representative for Forsyth County, which is Winston-Salem, for those of you unfamiliar with North Carolina, back in 2021. Dr. Baker considers herself the educator that moonlights as a politician. She was the principal at the Kimberly Park School in Winston-Salem for more than a decade. She serves as vice chair for the Forsyth County Democratic Party's African American Caucus. Dr. Baker is a sought-after commentator on North Carolina politics, as she has made multiple appearances on The Roland Martin Show on the Black Star Network. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Amber Baker.
Thank you for having me, Sister Pam. I'm always excited to be with you and your viewers, and excited to be and share this time again with Sister Janice. So I'm happy. Thank you.
All right. Hey, David. David is chiming in from Detroit. Okay, ladies, let's get into it. Let's start with the obvious that has received so much media attention: attempted theft of a North Carolina Supreme Court seat that Justice Allison Riggs won point blank. Okay, I hear some feedback on your side, Janice.
I don't hear anything here. I hear you all, but I don't hear any feedback.
Oh, okay.
I do hear the feedback.
Okay, and now it went away. So hey, that's good. I hear it a little bit. All right. Okay, who wants to start first about the Supreme Court debacle?
So I'll start. So do you hear the feedback when I'm talking?
No, keep
Okay,
talking.
okay. So so what Griffin and his cronies are doing, I think a lot of these people are part of the MAGA crowd and so forth that are helping him do this to try to steal the votes of North Carolinians. And now what they have gotten to is wanting to just focus on about 14 or 1,700 votes, overseas votes, which of course is many of our military. And so that's a big no. Our military Americans have every right to have their votes counted as well. I think what they're trying to do is because they have filed this case through two tracks. Of course, the federal judicial track, but also our state judicial track. And so, and it's been bouncing back and forth as rulings have been set down on each side. And so now the latest thing was the Fourth Circuit, the two panel judges on the federal Fourth Circuit basically have put everything on pause and halted the Board of Election efforts to reach out to voters to try and cure ballots. So they've stopped it. Of course, now then this is what Justice Riggs wanted to have happen. However, Griffin, in every case, they are appealing every time they are knocked down. Of course, Justice Riggs on her side is appealing. But I think it's very clear that what Griffin and the extremists are trying to do is get this all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. And where they have where unfortunately we have a U.S. Supreme Court where I don't put a lot of confidence in. And so I think they're trying to wind this thing all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, where they're hoping that the U.S. Supreme Court will rule in their favor. Besides this just being horrible, what they're doing and trying to steal this election, the fact that if they get away with this, it will be basically the playbook that will be attempted across almost every state in this country. And so here in North Carolina, we have to fight tooth and nail to make sure this just does not happen.
Right. Absolutely. Dr. Baker, your comments?
Yeah, so we are the standard bearer for all things horrible in legislation, right?
True that.
I'm just saying. And so we must remind our viewers that there has been 3 recounts, and every recount has validated that Judge Allison Riggs won by 734 votes. Let's remind the viewers that. Also, let's remind the viewers that they are not saying that these ballots were illegally cast. That's not their argument. They are not questioning the legality of the actual votes. What they are attempting to do is to target early voters, right? Because if you are a day of voter, they can't your information. And so what they're trying to do is
we're hearing the feedback. You hear the feedback?
I do hear the feedback.
Yeah. Do you have anything else? You have one or any other? No? Okay. Well, I don't know how to I don't know. Are you using your phone or the computer?
I'm using my computer.
Okay. You have on any other program for the background on your computer on. Make sure you're
Pam, it almost sounds like it's coming from your end, tell you the truth.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't. I don't know.
Because I can hear Dr. Baker fine. I'm hearing you're breaking up.
Huh. Girl, who knows?
But look, it's fine now.
But keep going, Dr. Baker.
So I think it's important for our viewers to know that what they're doing is targeting early voters, and they've done it with precision, and targeting Black and brown voters. And what they are challenging is their actual registration, and the things that they are challenging were not things that were required for individuals to have when they registered. So that's important to know that every recount, and so far they have lost every challenge, and that's why they keep going up. So, you know, you say you don't have any faith. I mean, I know that the Supreme Court has not done well with upholding the law, but I think it's just a stretch too far, maybe, for them to then go out valid voters who legally voted. But again, we are the playbook. So if they can get this to happen, you can expect that we will see this starting to occur more and more around the nation.
All right.
And can we also remind people that when then Chief Justice Beasley lost her race by 400 votes, 401, I think it was. She was gracious. She conceded. There was a successful transition of power. So, I mean, I don't know if we're going to get into this, but I'm saying at this point, it is no longer playing nice. There's no more, to me, there is no more trying to be above bull. When they go lower, when they go low, we're gonna get in the mud and roll around and fight like
That's what we need to do, and that's exactly what we need to do. One of our audience people said, "Isn't Eric Holder involved in this case with Justice Riggs? Is he involved in it at all?"
I have not heard that. I mean, he's advising behind the scenes, but I have not heard his name be attached to this. But you know, they are working with a whole legal team.
I have no idea either.
Okay. One of the viewers asked, does anybody have the show playing in the background on another device?
Nope.
What this is. Anyways, we gonna this is a live show, y'all. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Listen, for the most part, getting beyond just what all that they're doing here in North Carolina with the power grabs and what have you, has there been any discussion? I know what I was going to do. I was going to go to you, Janice. What organizations been planning to do to help these legislators out, like Dr. Baker, to fight against these Republican power grabs?
So what we've done in Red, Wine, and Blue, we had 90 of our troublemakers who were on the Griffin list. And so, we've been at this for so long fighting against this. So I guess about a month ago, we actually reached out to our troublemakers and made sure they were aware that their name was on the list. And we also participated in another project that our partner had where we participated in having all 60,000 names read at the time. Some were done at the Capitol, and then we continued to read those over social media. So we have been engaged in making sure that our troublemakers and everyone else that's around us helping get the word out to people what they can do. We participated in here in Charlotte in a rally and a press conference where we had some of our troublemakers whose names were on the list and or one of their family members were. And so we are continuing to and support and taking our cues from what Justice Riggs is asking everyone to do. And so in the meantime, we're kind of pausing as she has asked us to do to wait for what's going to happen with this next potential appeal. And so, but we're just helping to support the efforts that Justice Riggs is doing.
Okay. All right.
Can I tell you one other thing, Pam, that we started?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, I'm a big believer in going on the offense. I don't like feeling that progressives are always reacting to crap that extremists are doing. And so one of the things that we have created in Red, White, and Blue, North Carolina, we have created what we call our North Carolina General Assembly Brigade. We reached out and asked our troublemakers if they would sign up to join the brigade. And what this will involve is our troublemakers, basically, we're going to be in the room. We're going to be in the room at the Capitol, in the General Assembly, and in these committees. They're signing up for and self-selecting their own schedules when they will be in the room. They will be in the room wearing our red, white, and blue, red patriotic T-shirts, so these people can see us. And basically, we're going to be taking names, and they will be reporting back to our women in our network through our Facebook page. And then in this way, we were going to be prepared to hold these people accountable in 2026.
Right.
We come to know that we are watching them. We have over 35,000 troublemakers that have joined our network, women who have joined our network in North Carolina. Okay. And so we got to let these people know that we're going to be mobilizing our 35,000 to make sure we hold them accountable in 2026. We're going to be helping to vote some of these folks out of office.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Dr. Baker, you got the brigade coming.
And they can come on. I just want to make sure that they're knocking on the right doors, and that they're sending the emails to the right people, and that they're making the phone calls to the right offices, because oftentimes they bombard the people who are on the right side of issues. So I think that part of the strategy has to be to make sure that you're balanced in who you're contacting. I'm not saying don't contact my office, but I'm saying make sure that we are putting the pressure on the individuals that the pressure needs to be put on, including those who choose to vote with the others sometimes, which weakens our one seat majority.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we're watching that very closely. To be clear, the brigade will be in the room, in these hearing rooms and in the General Assembly, taking notes. And so we are getting ready to plan a visit to the state capitol, especially around this book banning that's going on.
Absolutely.
Crime issues that we have. And we will be targeting the people who are basically pushing this stuff and watching. I know we have a one seat majority. Well, there's a one seat majority in terms of holding back the Republicans for having a super majority. And that's very weak. And so, hey, we've seen them, pick off. I mean, they picked off one who supported them with this book ban. And so, so absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think also too, the other part of that too, is I keep saying this, is that 2026, the road to 2026 started on November 6th. And so we can't wait. I like to tell people I got sworn in January, and then I filed in December of the same year, with a primary in March, which means early voting starts mid-February. Right. So with that understanding, we cannot wait till January to start organizing and mobilizing. We can't. Right. So we have also got to have people that are phone banking now, who are helping people to check their registration. We got some registration legislation coming down that is looking to criminalize organized voter registration. But we've got to do two things at once. We've got to keep our foot on the necks of people who are making this really bad legislation, while we're also educating voters and making sure that we're mobilizing them now.
Absolutely.
And so it has to be twofold. And, and I know that I've said it on this show, and I've said it on a number of shows, and I'm saying it, I said today in two different community meetings, that everybody is always looking for, how do we organize outside of community? Right, we want to knock on doors, and how do we go in the community and knock on doors and get voters registered and get them to the polls? Well, there is people that can do that, but how about you start with your circle of influence? right? And I've been riding hard on the Divine Nine. You know, I've been watching them when they stroll to the polls. They're only strolling with themselves. So if you're going to do that, make sure that you take your roster, and I don't care if they are a member of your organization. If they're on your roster, start there. And make sure, whether they're financial or not, make sure that when you're calling your sister or your brother, your frat or your soror, that you're starting with your circle of influence. If you're a lit or a Jackson Hill, start there. If you're a senior, start calling other seniors. And oh my God, let's talk about the churches. Everybody's so scared. What are you scared of? If you take your church volunteers and you take your church roster and you start to call your church members with your church volunteers, talking to your church members, using your church van to take your church members with church volunteers to the polls, that is perfectly legal. And
We
guess
do
what?
all the time here in
Yeah.
Germany.
You see what I'm saying? So start with your circle of influence. And then there will be others that will go out into the community and touch them. But if we just covered our circle of influence.
Oh, Dr. Baker is talking about, you are talking my language, Dr. Baker. Red, wine, and blue, the only tactic that we use, what is basically is relational organizing, which is basically friend to friend organizing. This is the only tactic that we use. And this is how we've grown, the rate that we've grown, over 750,000 across America, the U.S., but also too, and we are having our data analyzed by an objective firm, Target Smart, and we're looking at a 5% increase in the voter turnout of the people that we are reaching out to. And so we use our rally tool, and where women can put in their circle of influence, people that they have influence with, in this tool, and all year long, we're giving them information to get out and start educating their friends and family and acquaintances now, so they'll be ready when it's time to vote, but not showing up 30 days before the election. Right. So I'm a big believer, and I'm a big believer, and it's got to be an empirical fact. I haven't done the research myself, but a more educated voter would be a more consistent voter.
Right.
So, educating people, our friends, family, all year long, 365.
Right.
Be ready to vote.
Absolutely.
Janice, I wanted, because we're talking about North Carolina politics, I want people to realize that red wine as in drinking wine, guys, and blue is located all across the country, correct?
Yeah, we have troublemakers all across the country.
Michigan and North Carolina and New York in the audience. So I just wanted them to know that red wine and blue is all over the country.
Yeah, and I can tell you, so we don't set up. We have staff in 5 of the battleground states, but we have troublemakers connected with us all over the country. And what we do, because we don't set up chapters, but we focus on and mobilizing the diversity of women in their communities. And so, and we we have a way of helping them find each other. So we have a platform on our website called Trouble Nation, where people can put in their zip code, and then they can find like-minded women near them. And there's a way to drop the link.
I was going to put it in. What's the website again?
Redwine.blue.
Wine.blue.
And if you go to Get Connected, and you just scroll down to Trouble Nation, and that's the link. And so people can go there, put their zip code in, and they can find like-minded people near them, and they can join up with them. And so, and we have a lot of resources and stuff. And if they can't find anybody near them, they can start their own group, and people can find them. Okay. We have a lot of resources that we provide to help people get very effective at reaching out.
But this is Renee. This is the actual. That's the name. You have the name right, but it's redwine.blue to get to their website. So this is the website, guys.
This on the thing here. Somebody put in redwine.blue.
That's what you told me.
Yeah, I said that's correct. It is correct. But I see Remixing Politics has it correct. Redwine.blue.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. So, listen, I wanted to, as we well know, North Carolina had one of the most horrific storms ever. Um, I didn't realize how horrific it was until they compared it to the size and scope of Katrina.
Mm.
We had our own personal Katrina up in the mountains, and everybody was so shocked because we never get water like that in the mountains.
Mhm.
And it really destroyed the area, and it still needs so much work. I'm curious, Dr. Baker, how now that the Trump said no,
No.
no to the money that Biden had already allocated to send here.
Yeah.
And
no to reimbursing the money that had been spent in advance that they were supposed to reimburse. So we had an update from Secretary Eddie Buffalo around public safety and the amount of money that North Carolina has spent to ensure from the public safety department. I won't quote the number, or I may misquote the number, but I think it was somewhere around $60 million that they spent out of their budget to with the understanding that they be reimbursed. And now Trump is not only saying he's not sending the money that previously was promised, but nor is he going to reimburse the state for the money that they spent in advance.
So how is that going to impact our budget? I did have a clip here of Governor Stein talking about us all working, pulling together.
Yeah, he's been talking a lot about that. But obviously he doesn't know who he's dealing with, right? Because we can pay lip service to us working together. But you see how the money has trickled out of, the state, and their argument on the other side has been, we're going to make sure that they have what they need, but we're going to make sure we're assessing, and so it's baloney, right? Like, people are suffering. They are suffering. And we know that there is money that needs to go. And so we're going to have to absorb that. We're going to have to roll back the vouchers. We're going to have to pump the brakes on taking the corporate tax to zero, realizing that we have a major catastrophe that now we're going to be responsible for, because the person that they voted in the name of 47 has said, middle finger to all of you.
Right.
I don't care. Did you really think I'm going to do anything that Biden said he was going to do?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, and they refuse to come out and speak against that. They refuse to hold the president accountable. And so once again, it's left up to the Democrats to fight to try to, get that money released. You see that Attorney General Jackson continues to sue them. And he's sued 6 times and won every time. So he can't necessarily talk about what he's working on behind the scenes, but I would imagine that some of what he's working on would have to do with suing them to release those funds, so that we can continue to bring resources to Western North Carolina. Now, we'll tell you that this year I was elected as the first vice chair for the Legislative Black Caucus, and we are scheduling our own trip. Never too late to go and assess. And we are going into the Black communities to get a better idea of what resources they have, either guidance or not guidance. And our goal is also to take the 5%, somewhere around $50,000, down to also provide again in the Black community. We know through the track record that our Black community will not get the service that some of our other counties and communities that have been impacted.
I want to talk to you for a minute about Baker, this person will put you on mute for a second and see what happens. Nothing. I still hear you. I don't know what's going on.
You want me to go out and come back? You want me to go out and see if it stops and come back in?
It just keeps coming and going. I don't know what that is. Janice, I want to talk to you about Project 2025.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we've done, Red, Wine, and Blue, we have a tracking guide about the just tracking all the things that is coming out of the administration that's taking away our rights. And so we have a link. I don't know if you guys still have the link, Pam.
Mm-hmm.
People can go on that site and then just look at all the different those orders that's being written and the just the various different executive orders that's been sent out and how they are affecting all the various different areas. And so it's a really good site to be able to track those much easier. And also too, and to help get that out to your friends, family, and acquaintances, so people can be informed as far as what's going on. So many times, and one of the things that's close to my heart, and especially in terms of our Black community, is and other marginalized communities, and so many people are really working in this country to keep food, shelter, and safety for their families. And so they don't have time to be up on all the stuff that's going on. I don't even hardly watch the news anymore. I can't take it. But people who are working 2 and 3 jobs just to keep food, shelter, and safety for their families, one of the things that people can do is use this tracking link as a quick resource, so that people can see what's going on. We do keep it up to date as new things come out. And the way that is segmented by, as far as education, reproductive rights, just the various, voting rights. So it's easy to kind of go in and choose which one that people want to focus in on. But so we try to make all of our resources stuff very user friendly and easily accessed, so that people can get it out to themselves, but also to their friends, family, and acquaintances.
One of the issues that we have here in North Carolina, among many, is the fact that we've been gerrymandered to the degree that really that it makes it harder for us to get our people in place, even though it's very fair for them to be in that place of their jurisdiction or whatever. But it's gerrymandered, and they just keep, it's just they constantly just pick until they can't pick anymore. How do we overcome that?
Well, one of the things is we have to stop being reactionary, right? Because that's part of their strategy. Part of their strategy is to overwhelm us with information, wear us down, frustrate us, cause us to be this sense of hopelessness. And that's where people are. And I'm saying to people, okay, we have to put the election of 2024 to bed. We have to. That is over and done. And so what we have to do is we have to create a strategy. And like Jan said earlier, we need to go on the offense. We need to put them back on their heels. One of the things that we did a couple of weeks ago was when that DEI bill got to moving, I talked to the Black Caucus, and we were prepared to show solidarity by wearing black and unity by wearing black. The Senate had already voted on the bill, and they did wonderful debates. So they were prepared to wear black. I talked to our caucus leader and talked to the caucus, and we mobilized the caucus to wear black. We then encouraged our partners to pack the gallery and to all wear black. And believe it or not, it was a synergy that occurred, right? They were not prepared for that. So we can't keep trying to anticipate what their move is going to be for our move. We've got to start moving and then put them on the defense. Make them figure out what they're going to do. So that particular bill got pulled twice.
Mm-hmm.
They were not prepared for that. They were not prepared for us to be organized, for us to be unified, and for us to be able to mobilize our community partners. So in terms of what do we need to do, we need to start chunking our attack. And we got to do independent of whatever they're going to do, because that's none of our business. Our business is about what are we going to do. And I think the 2025 piece, it is so much information in there that what I've been encouraging people in the community to do is whatever, get together in a group. And whatever your interest is, you take that part of 2025 and you become the expert on that, and then you train everybody else. That's what we have to do with the budget. When we get that 1,200-page document the day before we're scheduled to vote, we then take and break that apart in manageable pieces, and then we are responsible for becoming all things important. And then we go back and report back to the group. So 2025 is a dangerous document, but unless you have the energy, the strength, the wherewithal, the knowledge, how to it's overwhelming. So we got to start making information accessible, and we have to realize that to our parents, I used to be one of them that worked for jobs, lived in substandard housing, who had welfare, and I'm just trying to make it. We got to be able to make information so accessible, and it can't all be online, and it can't be where people have to go and find the information. That's where our community partners, that's where our Divine Nines, our Links, our Jack and Jills, our churches, every last one of those organizations has a social justice piece. The responsibility now is for them, us, to come out of our silos and get back into community and meet people where they are and get the information to them in the lowest level possible. And that is not to say that people are not intelligent, but we have to make it so that it's accessible and that people can understand it and possibly be able to do something with it.
Yeah. Can I share with you another thing as far as going on the offense? Dr. Baker, you and I are like this. I'm a big believer in going on offense. One of the things that Red, White, and Blue is participating in is we are holding constituent-led, participating in organizing and planning constituent-led town halls in these Republican congressional districts.
Yes.
And we're holding them also for Senator Tillis and Senator Budd. I live here in Valentine.
Tillis, please.
I live here in Charlotte in the Valentine area. I'm in District 14, Congressional District 14, which is the district that Tim Moore gerrymandered for himself. They took a sliver of Mecklenburg County because they divided up Mecklenburg County into 3 congressional districts. They took a sliver of those of us in Mecklenburg, from the northern Mecklenburg County, west part of the western side, and down in here to South Charlotte and to Valentine. We are in the district extends all the way to Rutherford, all those other 5 counties west. So when we decided to have our congressional district constituent-led town hall, we decided we were going to have it in the center of the district. So we pretty much threw a dot and realized that Cleveland County was in the center. And then it would be a fair location. So those of us in Charlotte would have an hour to drive there. Also, those of us from Rutherford would have an hour to make it more equitable in terms of getting in the district. And it just so happens it was in Tim Moore's backyard. We focused on we focused on just making it constituent-led, so that we didn't advertise it and make it where it's Republican or Democrat or progressive. I'm going to tell you, in the room, there were Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, progressives, independents who got up and shared their concerns about what's going on in our country. It was so powerful. And so the ones that's being held across there and other folks across the North Carolina are holding their own constituent-led town halls where in their Republican congressional district, because they will not have a town hall. So we're doing it ourselves, and we did invite them to come. We're inviting them to come. And matter of fact, I ordered a life-size cutout of Tim Moore to have in the room. And also, we just had one here in Charlotte for Tom Tillis, and over 1,000 people showed up. One was in Greensboro a couple of weeks ago. 1,200 people showed up. And so, but that one's been held down in Moore County, and they're being held all over the state in these congressional districts to put pressure on these folks, these representatives, to let them know we are your constituents.
Yes, we are.
It doesn't matter what my partisan registration is. It doesn't matter if I voted for you or not. You are my representative, and so it's your responsibility to have my voice and take my voice to DC. And so that is the kind of messages that we're sending to these folks.
Right. Yep. Dr. Baker, you're on mute. Let me unmute you.
We have to keep that pressure on them. Yes. We have to, because what happens is we get fired up, we get the people energized, and then we stop, right? And so then we get to the primary, and it all fizzles away. So we've got to keep, like I keep saying, we've got to keep the foot on the gas and on their necks, like all the way through. And additionally, hopefully, that as we are looking at a statewide strategy, like we did for the House and the Senate, we contested 119 out of the 120 seats. And the only seat that we couldn't get somebody to run against was Cleveland County. So we have to continue to do that. Like, and then continue to encourage people to take a chance on voting for a Democrat this time. So it makes no difference if we can energize even the Republicans or the independents if we don't offer them a candidate, an alternative candidate for them to vote for.
Right. That's absolutely right. I was trying to look up for Zachary Clipper. He asked the question, what percentage of voters are Black in North Carolina? And I don't know.
We're in the weeds, Zachary. We're in the weeds. I'm going to look it up, but let me tell you, that's the weeds. Because right now, Blacks by themselves will not win elections. So, again, Pam gonna get you the answer, but I'm gonna tell you that we can't continue to be on the shoulders of Blacks. And if 2024 didn't show us anything, we showed that we did our part, but it wasn't enough. And so we've got to mobilize everybody.
Yeah, do you have that data?
Who?
Do you know that data, Janice, about the number of Blacks?
You asking me?
Yes.
Okay. No, not off the top of my head. I would have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up, and it's not like jumping out. Even though I've given it very specific instructions, I guess I should have went through GPT.
And I'm afraid to go to the Google right now, being on here because of this, just the audio stuff. If y'all have a way to reach Zachary, we can get that to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. Zachary has been on the program before. He is very politically astute.
He can probably tell us.
He's in Michigan. He's another Michigan person.
Hey, that data is out there.
Janice, he can't go to redwine.blue and put that information. And
we do not have that.
We don't have that data there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
I wanna. there is an event that's coming up here in North Carolina, and you're going to be
Yes.
happy that I have it. It's because it's actually going to be at my church. It's going to be at St. Joseph, and I'm going to show it
Is that
to.
the one, the State of the People?
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
love to drive up for that. I got a busy. I'm going to be so
Is
busy
it
both
you
days.
guys see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the people are rising. The truth is calling. State of the People Power Tour. This is a nationwide call to action. St. Joseph AME Church here in Durham. We are a very much, I say we because that is my church. It is very much a social activist, social justice focused church. It is. We do social justice Sundays and the whole nine. And this Tuesday, April 29th at 5:30 p.m., the people will be here. I am not sure, honestly, of who all is on the tour, but my pastor will be a panelist. And I was trying to look up to find out who the rest of them are. But for those of you in North Carolina who listen to this show on the playback, and those of you are on the show right now that are in North Carolina, come to St. Joseph. St. Joseph's is at 2521 Fayetteville Street. It is literally walking distance from North Carolina Central University. All right. So let me be back. All right. So that's my plug for that.
I think I have some numbers for Zach. So I just looked it up on the North Carolina Board of Elections.
Uh-huh.
And let's see here. So the percentage of Black voters who turned out in 2024 was 66% of Blacks turned out in
Uh-huh.
2024.
And
In
Renee
the
had
general,
too.
and
60%.
yeah, 66. And the compared to 78%, 78.2% of white voters.
Oh, uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? I don't even know what part we comprise of. Or say two or more mixed races, 59.5%. That's I believe that for sure. Because you know, because didn't we just get recognition for one of our Native American tribes just recently,
I don't know.
Dr. Baker? I think we did.
I hadn't seen that, but I do know that we met recently with the tribal council for one of the bands down west, actually, and they are actually beginning to advocate and request a seat at the table, and
Yeah.
they are asking to be considered. They talked about the gambling bill and how they were not even considered, and no one talked to them about it, which is disrespectful, right? Because it does affect what they've been doing. Same thing with the marijuana bill. You know, they have legalized marijuana because they're sovereign, so they can legalize it. You can't take it off, off the reservation. You can't take it off of, but they legalized it within their community, and so they want to be a part of the medical marijuana conversation. They want to be a part of the conversation if we ever get to legalize marijuana in general. And again, they are saying that we want to be considered, and I applaud them for that.
I think if I'm not mistaken, that I can't pronounce it. That band that you're thinking. Yeah. Okay. So, Jan,
Yes.
any words of wisdom for us as to what's next for your troublemakers? Get us energized here.
Yeah. So what we're focused on now, and I'm glad you asked that question because for our 2025 strategy that we're working in 2025 to prepare us for 2026. First of all, is continuing to grow our network. I set a goal for us to hit 35,000 by the end of September, because at the end of September, I go into get out the vote mode. It's like everything else, we going to get out the vote, because we do have elections every year, twice a year, every year. Everybody get that in your mind. We vote twice a year, every year. So I set a goal for 20 to hit 35,000 by the end of September. We hit 35,000 by the end in mid-April. So I have bumped it up to 45,000 by the end of September. Again, one of the things that an idea that I stole from my good friend Dreama Caldwell and the Down Home NC crew, they have a fabulous co-governance model in their program, and I decided I wanted to implement that in Red, Wine, and Blue, because one of the things that I wanted to do with our seasoned volunteers, we're going into our 4th year. We're about to hit 4 years. We've had women who've been with us because we don't, like I always say, we amplify the voices of women around the issues important to them. And so we train women, and especially we go after women who, for whatever reason, are not a part of the choir, because that's our way of trying to expand the electorate. And so some of the women have been with us for a while. And so now we're getting ready to move them on to even more, being more of an activist, kind of just growing them more. I've set a goal to have at least 20 of our women run for office. We need more women in office, bottom line. So we're going to be prepping them to run for office. We're going to be having some representatives from Lead NC and Lillian's List to come in and train our women who would have an interest in running for office. We're going to have them come in and do a special training for us in one of our North Carolina salons. With that co-governance model, we are mobilizing our women to show up and be in the room, and not only school board meetings, but city council, board of county commissioners meetings, and also to our brigade at the General Assembly. And then lastly, with our 365 a year, using our rally tool, having our women be very informed about the issues that are going on in our state ongoing, and getting and educating their friends, family, and acquaintances throughout the year as well, so that we all become more informed, educated voters. And so that's what we're planning. We're going to be focusing on the school board races this year and the municipal races. And also, too, we're getting ready to, the other thing that I've decided, Red, Wine, and Blue will lead the way in making sure that our judicial races are a household name. We cannot have the judicial races be an afterthought. This year, in 2026, 3 of our appellate court seats are up for election, and they're all by Democrats. Not only that, of course, we know about Justice Earl's seat is up. And so 2026 is going to be a huge year for our judicial races. Unfortunately, we lost our three appellate seats in 2024. The ones that are up in 2026 are currently held by 3 Democrats. We have to now be prepared to fight for our courts. And so we're ready, and we'll be putting some more emphasis on judicial races. Last year, we spent some PAC money last year to emphasize those judicial seats, along with our Justice Riggs seat. And we'll be doing again. We're having a special salon for our judicial races, just to amplify. We got to get people informed. So we always try to go. I'm just an offensive person. I don't like going. I don't like being controlled and running after every crazy thing that they do.
But I do think that one of you hit on a key issue, and I think one of the things that we need to be concerned about is the amount of money that's being spent into Allison's Riggs, getting that seat, securing that seat, as we rightfully should. I am a little concerned about giving fatigue because of the amount of money that's being collected for this defense to continue. And like you said, Justice Anita Earls is up. Are we going to keep that same energy? How do we begin to build that now? And every time I'm on, Sister Pam, I tell your viewers, particularly candidates of color. We don't raise at the same rate as other people. We don't get the same kind of support as our white counterparts. And so we have got to be aggressive about fundraising to ensure that those judicial candidates get the kind of financial support. It's an off-season election. Money is usually down, and so we have to also keep that in mind as we are talking strategy, because it is concerning. I'm already starting to raise funds so that I can continue to craft the message, because a lot of times the money comes so late. We are already behind the 8 ball, and the message has already has been crafted on the other side against our candidates. So getting out there early, making sure people understand why we are trying to fundraise now versus waiting until we're in the midst of the election cycle, helping people to understand that. But I will say, I am concerned. For Justice OLC, and whether or not there will be enough money there for her and those other judicial candidates. Because again, there's a lot of money that's being pumped into securing the seat for Allison Riggs, and just hoping it is not at the expense of some of our other.
Spent money on Justice Earl when she came up, when they were doing that other mess they messed with her with.
They were trying to get her. They were trying to get her thrown off the bench.
They have really messed with the women.
Yeah,
on that court. They have messed with the women. Let me answer this. Somebody want to answer this question? We know the answer. What has Trump done for NC as it relates to hurricane relief? Nothing. He absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that is correct.
Nothing.
Correct. And he's consistent with that. He is consistent.
He's not doing anything for Arkansas, and
that's where I was going to go. Right.
She has kissed his behind forever, and she is begging, and he has said no. Listen, he doesn't even acknowledge. He didn't say anything about those horrible floods in Kentucky.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, so you are hitting everything. And those are states that overwhelmingly right? I am moving away from using the terminology red states and blue states, because I think people need to hear repeatedly. Republicans are doing this.
Right.
Republicans, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need people that to be in their psyche, that it is Republicans who are doing all of this horrific things, right? It is Democrats who are on the right side of issues. It is the Democratic leaning states that are on the right side of issues. It's Republican, like, we need people to understand, because when we talk about red states and blue states, we need people to dismiss that, because that's a color. That's something. But when you name a thing, right, you can throw the narrative of the thing. But that's just my little sidebar.
All right. Well, our time is just about up.
Already, but it went fast.
and just it is. We're at the hour, so I just want to thank you all for coming. I appreciate you so much. I can't say enough about that. And hey, Goodwill Assembly Brigade, got to make brigade. Dr. Baker, get a picture with her. Show them in action. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for all the work that you do, Sister Pam. Thank you, Sister Janice, for controlling the brigade and the good troublemakers and the bad troublemakers and the troublemakers. I said, let somebody else decide whether it's good or bad. I'm just gonna show up to make trouble.
Well, it's definitely been a pleasure being on with you, Dr. Baker. I love seeing you on Rolling. I start my day with Rolling Martin every morning. And I love seeing you on there. It was great. But I appreciate the time, the one-on-one time that we we had together. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's about time for them to give me a call. You know, so much going on, and you know, usually when we're hot on the radar of things, I get a call from them to talk about it. But there's so many other things that he's trying to address. But I did say it's probably about time for us to have another conversation about
I wish
everything.
if we didn't have that conflict with the chancellor being inducted there at Central, you would have been able to be at that town hall that was
correct.
But Roland asked some pointed questions at the town hall of the leadership.
Yeah.
One of our leaders that was in the house with you.
Yes.
And
my seatmate. He's my seatmate. Yeah.
Another person that serves on city council. And he brought us something very simple, and really essentially is that they're not communicating and talking and even thinking strategically, because if St. Aug goes away, that's tax revenue, that's impacts the local businesses and everything. And so we just gotta be a lot more strategic in thinking together
and getting out of our own way and putting our egos in our back pocket and sitting on them. Because even with the thing with St. Aug's and with Shaw,
yes,
what people don't realize is that real estate is now prime real estate.
Yes, it is. That's why
right. And so that is why they're trying to destroy those two schools.
Right.
It's prime real estate.
Right.
And so we must remember that and even be strategic about it, right? You don't have to sell it, do a long-term lease. Right? But you retain ownership.
Right.
But we're not, and this is the other thing, and I know we're getting off, but you open this door. I had this conversation long before the conversation with Roland, and I said, here's the problem that we encounter, particularly with our HBCUs. We don't have the right people on our boards.
Oh, please don't even look. Please.
And so you can reserve certain seats for your grandmama's cousin, auntie who found, we can reserve those kinds of seats, but we need to make sure that we have somebody that's an accountant on their boards. We need to have attorneys on the boards. We need to have a business person on those boards to help us understand strategic planning. And so we've got to start to build our boards better.
Yes.
Right? And then we need to make sure that we have an impetus in place that when you have board members that are showing that their actions and decisions are detrimental to the university, we have to have a process in place for removing them from the board.
Yes, because they can't get. I'm saying they can't get rid of that board. They have tried over and over again, and it's terrible. But anyways, we'll figure it out by and by, I guess. And new people that I see here, I don't know who Thyra Austin is.
Thyra Austin is one of my best friends. I'm so excited to see Thyra. I sent her the text. Hi, Thyra.
Yeah, she's here. Thank you. And you guys, please, if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. It's for the algorithm, and please consider subscribing to my show. Please. I'm almost to the 500 mark. I'm just shy of 500, and that will put me in a whole nother category on YouTube. Yay.
Well, again, thank you so much. And I'm putting my shameless plug in. If you want to give to my campaign, as long as we still have Act Blue, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time.
Yes.
You can go to my website, www.vote4amberbaker.com, and click that link. And every little amount, it adds up. Every amount. So there's no amount too big. No, well, $6,400 is max. Love to get my first $6,400 contribution off of your show, but give as little as $1 and as much as $6,400. So thank you.
I'm almost there. The last I saw was at 444. So
So you need 59 more people.
yeah, I can get people are they won't watch it anyway. You know, it's YouTube is, but anyway, listen, ladies.
All right. Good night. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely.